Hello, this is Greg Monty, and this is the CERT Education Series, a continuation of the Heat Transfer module with Heat Transfer Enrichment 3, all about the calorimeter. Let's talk about a calorimeter. What does it do? It measures the amount of heat involved in a chemical reaction or physical change. A simple calorimeter is shown here. If you look at this diagram, you'll see on the outside an insulating jacket and then some airspace. And then inside is a chamber that has a conductive wall and a bath of water contained in that chamber, a stirrer to keep the water moving in relatively the same temperature throughout the chamber, and then a sample cup which holds on to food, which has an electric wire running through the food to burn the food to do a measurement of its calorie content. And lastly, you have a thermometer which measures the temperature of the water bath during the chemical reaction or physical change. So that's a very simple calorimeter. Of course, they can become very sophisticated, and the ones that are used by the National Institutes of Standards and Technology are very sophisticated for measuring exact calories in food. So the calories in food are determined with the calorimeter, and those nutritional fact labels that you see on your foods contain the calorie content per serving, in this case 230 calories, and also the serving size for that particular calorie count. In this case, 2/3 of a cup of the food, or 55 grams of the food, produces 230 calories. So let's talk about how they actually make those measurements. How does it work? How does the calorimeter work? Let's say we had some food, potato chips, placed in the sample cup. Lots of potato chips. And they come into the sample cup, and then that cup is heated by the electrical wires, and those chips are burned, and what you'll see left over is just some ashes from the burned potato chips. So from our heat transfer experiment that we did, what will happen to the heat from burning the chips? You burn the potato chips in the sample cup. What's going to happen to all the heat that's produced from that burning? Okay, I think everybody probably knew that the heat from the food burning is transferred through the conducting walls of the sample container to the chamber of the water bath, from hot to cold. So the water bath is going to change its temperature. As the heat transfers to the water bath, what happens to the temperature of the water? The water bath temperature rises. So we see the temperature in the thermometer go up, and we now know how much temperature change there was in the water bath from the beginning of the experiment to the end of the experiment. So how do we determine calorie content? How do we calculate the amount of calories that were contained in the potato chips? Well, from our heat transfer module, and specifically the heat equation enrichment video, we know that the heat energy in calories given off by the chips when they're burning is equal to the energy that the water picks up through increased temperature. So all of the heat from burning the potato chips gets transferred into the water, and the change in water temperature represents the amount of heat that was produced by burning the potato chips, and therefore the calorie content of those chips. So let's use our heat equation. The heat energy picked up by the water is equal to the mass of the water in the water bath times the change, the delta T, change in temperature of the water in degrees Celsius, times 1 calorie per gram degree Celsius, which is the specific heat of water. So we know the mass of the water that's in the water bath, we know the change in temperature from the thermometer, and we know the specific heat, which is a defined constant for water. So let's assume that we burn 100 grams of chips, that the water weighs 50 grams, and the change of temperature of the water seen by the thermometer was 2 degrees Celsius. The heat equation would then tell us that the heat energy picked up by the water is 50 grams times 2 degrees Celsius times 1 calorie per gram degree Celsius, or 100 calories. Therefore, a package of the 100 grams of chips has 100 calories. And this is how food calories are determined for all of the foods that we eat and get put on the nutritional labels for all the foods. Thanks for participating in the CERT educational series, Heat Transfer Enrichment 3, all about the calorimeter. Thank you.